It's hot. Why does it feel like I'm burning up? Charlotte Wint felt like she had been aimlessly walking in the desert for a very long time. All she wanted was to quench her thirst. A man's icy lips covered hers as he devoured her, giving her temporary respite from the heat. She reached out and flung her arms around his neck, sucking his lips greedily. Loud moans and pants soon resounded around the room. Their shadows on the wall opposite overlapped with a burning passion. As the light was dim, Charlotte couldn't see the man's face clearly. The only thing that occurred to her was how beastly he was in bed. He savagely took her until dawn. When dawn broke, he left. Charlotte opened her eyes in a daze. She saw a blurry image of a man's back and the vicious wolf head tattoo on the small of his back. It was a tattoo of a howling wolf with its jaw wide opened, like it was going to devour its prey any time. She felt her heart racing in fear at the sight of that tattoo. Charlotte had a dream. In it, she had turned into a vine that was entwined around a colossal tree, unable to break free. When she regained consciousness, her body was aching terribly. Charlotte sat up in bed with one hand on her head, trying to soothe her splitting headache. She saw the mess on the bed and a torn men's shirt on the ground. Freezing in shock, she racked her brains trying to remember last night's events. At her engagement party, her fiancé had betrayed her. She was on the verge of breaking down when her cousin, Luna White, brought her to sultry night to drink her sorrows away. Utterly wasted, she announced she wanted to take revenge on her fiancé. Luna immediately arranged a male escort for her. As last night's events hit her, Charlotte clutched her chest in shock. Oh God, I lost my virginity to a stranger. She grabbed her hair in frustration. After a long time, she finally snapped out of her trance and hurriedly put on her clothes. When she rushed out of the hotel, a bunch of reporters clamored around her. Accompanied by the blinding camera flashes were the reporters' harsh questions. Ms. Wint, is it true you spent the night with a male escort from sultry night because the Sterlings called off the engagement? Ms. Wint, are you aware that the male escort is a transvestite? Ms. Wint, did you know your father has gone bankrupt? Ms. Wint, we've just received news that your father had committed suicide. He jumped off his company's building. Charlotte's mind went blank as if she had just been struck by lightning. At once, she ran out but was knocked out cold by a car. The next morning, the headlines were ablaze with the news of Charlotte and her father. Richest man in H City, Richard Wint, goes bankrupt and commits suicide. Hector Sterling dumps daughter of Richard Wint. Charlotte Wint spends night at club with transvestite male escort. Both pieces of breaking news immediately made it to the headlines. Once a wealthy heiress, Charlotte became a despicable and immoral B*TCH overnight. She had lost everything from her family to her reputation. 10 months later, loud cries from bobbies could be heard in an unremarkable clinic in the countryside. Mrs. Barry held a baby in her arms as she rushed up to Charlotte elatedly. Miss, congratulations, you gave birth to triplets, 2 boys and a girl. 4 years later, at H City's train station, Charlotte arrived in the city with her kids and Mrs. Barry. The plump Mrs. Barry was holding 2 big pieces of luggage, heaving as she walked. Charlotte had a denim backpack slung on her shoulder as she squeezed out of the busy train station with her 3 kids. To others, they looked like a poor family from the countryside coming to the city to depend on their relatives. Out of my way, country bumpkin. A woman wearing a fur coat shoved Mrs. Barry away harshly and insulted her. Charlotte was about to reprimand that woman when a fleet of luxury cars came to a stop beside her. Before anyone could react, dozens of bodyguards alighted their vehicles and formed 2 neat rows. Giving a deep bow, they called out in unison, "Welcome back, Mrs. Sterling." Hearing the name Sterling, Charlotte glanced at the convoy and saw the Sterlings crest on the cars. Are they here for me? She grew excited at that thought. Could it be that Hector never betrayed me? Did he call off our engagement because he had no other choice back then? Now that he knows I'm back, he must be here to pick me up. Miss, is Mr. Sterling here to pick us up? A delighted Mrs. Barry was about to step forward when two bodyguards pushed them away rudely. In the next moment, a graceful woman dressed in expensive clothing walked out, flanked by an entourage. Charlotte's lips parted in surprise. Isn't this Luna White? Luna was clad in a designer suit. She looked more elegant than she was 4 years ago. Her fingers were curled around a little hand, belonging to a boy around the same age as Charlotte's triplets. Mrs. Sterling, Timothy, this way please. The bodyguards greeted them politely. I will never take the train again. It's filthy and full of commonalties, declared Luna, covering her nose with her handkerchief in disdain. Yes, yes. If it weren't for the weather, Mr. Sterling wouldn't have let you and Timothy suffer. The bodyguards escorted Luna and the little boy into a car. Both Luna and her son were so arrogant they didn't even glance around them. Thus, they failed to notice Charlotte in the crowd. What is going on? Mrs. Barry recognized Luna and blurted out. Isn't that your cousin? Is she married to Mr. Sterling now? I think so. As the Sterlings' convoy drove away, Charlotte recalled Hector's promise in the past. He said I'll be his only bride in this life. But now, he's married to my cousin. They even have a son this big. Tears prickled at Charlotte's eyes as her nose burned. Mommy, what's wrong? When the kids spotted Charlotte's red-rimmed eyes, all three of them surrounded her and voiced their concerns. I'm fine. Wiping her eyes dry, Charlotte knelt down and pulled the three of them in for a hug. Mommy, don't be sad. When I grow up, I'll buy a big car for you. Then you won't have to suffer anymore, offered her eldest son, Robbie. He thought she was upset because someone had bullied her. Mommy, who bullied you? Let me beat them up. Jamie, the second boy, waved his fists adorably and puffed up his cheeks. Ellie, the youngest of the triplets, rubbed her cheek against Charlotte and comforted her. Mommy, don't cry. Don't cry, don't cry. Suddenly, a green head poked out of Ellie's pocket. It belonged to a cheeky parrot that was glancing around curiously at this moment. No, I'm not crying. Charlotte inhaled sharply and put on a smile. Come on, let's go home. Yay, let's go. Charlotte gave them a kiss each before slinging the backpack over her shoulder again and heading out to hail a cab. She used to be a wealthy heiress with an entourage wherever she went, but now she had to queue up to hail a cab with Mrs. Barry and her kids, not to mention being heavily loaded with their baggage. As all of them couldn't fit in one cab, Mrs. Barry had to take a separate cab by herself. The sky was dark, signaling the arrival of a storm. Hopping to avoid it, the cab driver was speeding anxiously along the road when suddenly he rammed into a Rolls-Royce up ahead. The cab driver's face turned pale instantly and got down from his cab to check the situation. Charlotte sat in the passenger seat and looked out of the window, snapping her brows together. It was a limited edition Rolls-Royce Phantom. There were only 3 units in C Nation and 35 worldwide. Even if it were a minor scratch, the cab driver would have to compensate a substantial amount of money, which might cause him to go bankrupt. The conflict was going to be a hassle and would probably take a long time. Looking up, Charlotte noticed the sky had turned a gloomy gray. The storm was about to hit any time. She didn't want her kids to get soaked in the rain, especially Ellie, who had been physically weak since young. The little girl would definitely catch a cold if the rain got to her. Robbie, Jamie, Ellie, stay in the car. I'll go down and see what's happening, Charlotte told her children before getting off the cab. Mommy, be careful, the kids yelled out unanimously. Fifi, the parrot, poked its head out of Ellie's pocket again curiously. Ellie gave it a tiny snack and petted its fluffy head gently. Fifi, hold on tight, we'll be home soon. Sir, I'm sorry, I didn't hit your car on purpose. The cab driver was explaining nervously. It was the passenger's fault. She has 3 kids and a good deal of baggage. My cab is overloaded, so I accidentally bumped into your car. When he saw Charlotte, he immediately pointed at her. You're responsible for this. Huh, why? Charlotte was about to retort when the window of the Rolls-Royce rolled down. Forget it, the president is busy. The man seated in the passenger seat spoke as he swept a glance over Charlotte. Yes. The man in suit nodded and told the cab driver to drive carefully next time before leaving. Charlotte gazed instinctively at the backseat of the Rolls-Royce when the driver opened the door. To her surprise, she saw a half-naked man with his back to her. A snarly wound snaked across his back as blood trickled down onto the wolf head tattoo on the small of his back. Wolf head tattoo, the wolf head tattoo. Charlotte's eyes widened in disbelief. She stared at the tattoo wordlessly as her heart jumped to her throat. The ferocious wolf was gazing at her, its eyes stained bright red by the man's blood, looking ever so bloodthirsty. It's him. It really is him. Move out of the way. The cab driver gave Charlotte an abrupt push, causing her to topple to the ground. When she looked up again, the Rolls-Royce had disappeared from sight. Charlotte felt her head buzzing as she stared at the empty road ahead. Was that him in the car just now, the kid's father? Wasn't he a gigolo at sultry night? Why was he in that expensive car with that horrible wound? Hey, why did you push my mommy? Jamie waved his fists angrily at the cab driver. Brat, stop yelling at me. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have gotten this unlucky, cursed the cab driver. You were the one speeding before hitting that car. That's none of our business, Robbie retorted in his bubbly voice. As your passengers, we're not responsible for your mistake. You violated the traffic law. We can file a complaint against you. Yes, you bullied Mommy. I will ask the police to arrest you. Ellie pouted furiously and pointed at someone in the middle of the road. There's a traffic police. Fifi, who was perched on her shoulder, chirped out instantly. Traffic police, traffic police. What a nuisance. Get off. I refuse to bring you to your destination anymore. The cab driver proceeded to open his trunk and threw their baggage in the middle of the road, before leaving in a huff. Hey, how could you? Charlotte picked up her baggage clumsily and brought the kids to the side of the road. Meanwhile, the man in the backseat of the Rolls-Royce, Zachary Nacht, looked up and glanced at the rearview mirror. That woman looks familiar. Where have I seen her before this? Mr. Nacht, I'll inject the anesthetic now, said the doctor who was dealing with his wound. No need. The man was reading a file in his hand. His wound was bleeding profusely, but he wasn't bothered at all. This may sting a little then. I'm going to stitch your wound up. Frowning, the doctor started stitching the wound up. As there was no anesthetic involved, the doctor was more nervous than usual. The man's tanned skin glinted under the light icily. His muscles contracted from the immense pain, but his expression remained the same. On Monday morning, Charlotte sent the kids to kindergarten with Mrs. Barry before she went to Divine Corporation. For the past few days, she had blasted her resume out to 35 companies. 17 of them called her for an interview, but they either rejected her or asked her to wait for their decision. Only one company offered her a job, the legendary Divine Corporation. Strange. The SMEs didn't want to hire me, but why did the corporate giant in the industry, Divine Corporation, call me instead? When she arrived at the HR department, she finally realized whose plan it was. It's you. Long time no see, miss. Wesley Holt greeted her with an evil smile. You're still pretty after all these years. Wesley Holt, my father fired you from Wint Corporation and left orders that you are not to step into H City for the rest of your life. How dare you return? Charlotte knew who he was. Wesley used to be the vice president of Wint Corporation. He tried to take advantage of her, so Richard fired him. She never thought she'd see him again after 4 long years. The Wint family is over the hill. Do you think you're still the rich heiress? Wesley snickered. You're nothing. I am the one who gives you this job. Giving him a glare, Charlotte spun on her heels and left. Charlotte, this is your final chance. If you walk out from this door, I guarantee you won't find a job in H City unless you are willing to become a hostess in a bar, Wesley uttered arrogantly. Furious, Charlotte stormed out of his office. I will never give in to someone like him. When she exited the building, a crowd had formed at the entrance. There was a middle-aged man with gasoline poured all over his body. He was holding a lighter, trying to threaten everyone. "Stay away. I want to meet Zachary Nacht now." The staff stayed away, while the bodyguards were on alert. A few higher-ups tried to persuade him. "Mr. Looney, calm down. We can talk this out." "Calm down? Do you know what he did to me? I accidentally offended him and he made me bankrupt overnight. How could I calm down?" Gaston Looney exclaimed. At his words, Charlotte was reminded of her father, Richard. "I still don't understand how Wint Corporation went bust suddenly. We were doing so well. I didn't even get to see Father before he died. Did someone sabotage Father back then?" "Mr. Nacht is here," someone shouted. Charlotte looked up and saw a Rolls-Royce Phantom coming to a stop. The bodyguards swarmed toward the car and cleared a path. Seeing that, the crowd made way for him. Gaston rushed to the car and stood in front of it. "Zachary Nacht, I demand an explanation today," he shouted. Everyone fell silent and gazed at the black Rolls-Royce nervously. The most horrifying and influential person in H City is in that car. Charlotte saw a figure in the backseat looking at his phone, without a care in the world. His driver and bodyguard in the passenger seat remained seated, waiting for his instruction. A heavy silence hung in the air. The expressionless man then made a casual gesture. Immediately, the vehicle sped ahead with every intention to hit Gaston. The onlookers were dumbfounded, let alone Gaston. He froze on the spot in disbelief at the other party's callousness. The car was about to hit him when Charlotte rushed forward and pulled him back. At that, the man in the car looked up and noticed Charlotte. A complicated look flashed across his gaze at the sight of her. As Charlotte and Gaston fell onto the ground together, the crowd collectively gasped in shock. Charlotte's arm was throbbing painfully, but when she looked up, the Rolls-Royce Phantom was long gone. Almost instantly, the security guards rushed over and detained Gaston. "Zachary Nacht, I curse you, you'll die a horrible death," he yelled desperately. Soon, the guards stuffed a cloth into his mouth to stop him from yelling more and dragged him away like a dead dog. Charlotte stared after him with sorrow. "Father told me that the business world is like a battlefield, but it looks like hell to me. A careless mistake will cause one to sink into an endless quicksand." The mysterious man in the Phantom is none other than the devil incarnate who controls everyone's fate. Alas, the poor have to work for the devil, even though they are barely surviving. The moment Charlotte left Divine Corporation's building, she received a text from the bank informing her of the successful transcation to the kindergarten, amounting to $180,000. Her balance in the account was $3,988. Ah, it's expensive to bring up kids nowadays. The triplets, school fees plus meal allowance amount to $180,000. The rest isn't even enough to buy formula milk for them. What should I do? After battling with her own thoughts for a long while, Charlotte turned and entered Divine Corporation once again. "It's just Wesley. He won't do anything in broad daylight, right?" "The man's right. I'm no longer the rich heiress. I need to support my family and the kids. Pride isn't important right now." Charlotte was waiting for the elevator in the lobby when many bodyguards appeared, escorting a man to the VIP elevator. Everywhere that man went, people would bow and greet him politely. "Good morning, Mr. Nacht." As she was far away and not tall enough, she didn't manage to see what he looked like. But that man was obviously Zachary Nacht, the president of Divine Corporation. Why does his figure seem familiar to me? Shaking her head, she chided herself for being starstruck. Why would I be reminded of that gigolo every time I meet a tall and muscular man? He's the president of Divine Corporation and an influential and ruthless man. There's no way he's a gigolo at sultry night. Mr. Nacht, the one who pulled Gaston Looney away, was an onlooker. No. She has just registered as our new employee 5 minutes ago as a secretary on the 13th floor. Her name is Charlotte Wint, reported Ben Nacht. His boss said nothing as he scrawled his signature on a document. The man only replied with a grunt after he was done with his work. Charlotte would be paid $8,000 monthly during her probation period, including basic insurance. Her salary would increase to $10,000 once she passed probation. After going through the entry procedures, Charlotte was counting silently whether her salary was enough for her family's expenses. I'll need to spend $8,000 every month on the kids' formula milk alone. That's not including our expenses. She was deep in worry when a few other employees came to welcome her. "Hello, Charlotte. Welcome to the administration department." "Oh, thank you." Charlotte shook hands with them warmly. This was her first official job, so she knew how important it was to build a good relationship with her colleagues. "As usual, we'll have a welcome party for you. Is that okay?" "Of course, dinner on me." "Huh, I like how smart you are. We'll leave right after work." "Sure." When it was time to get off work, Charlotte had some unfinished work, so her colleagues left and waited for her downstairs. After finishing the paperwork, she grabbed her bag and headed to the elevator. But before she could reach it, the doors closed right in front of her. At the same time, the doors to the VIP elevator parted. She scurried in without hesitation. "This is the president's private elevator. Please leave right away," the bodyguard reprimanded her. "Huh." Before Charlotte could react, the mysterious man in the elevator made a gesture. His bodyguard received his order and stopped driving her out. Charlotte looked back, but immediately turned away. "It's the devil incarnate," Zachary knacked. All of a sudden, it felt like the surrounding temperature had dropped a few degrees. The man was tall and looked like a Greek god. He stood behind her imposingly and exuded an intimidating aura. Charlotte bit her lip hard. She was subconsciously holding her breath. Through the reflection of the mirror in the elevator, she saw the man gazing at her sharply. He looks like a lion staring at its prey. "Hurry, hurry." Charlotte gazed at the number flashing on the elevator screen, hopping to quickly escape this suffocating place. 13, 12, 11, 10. She counted the numbers silently, her heart thumping furiously. Unbeknownst to her, Zachary was inching nearer to her. Ding! Finally, the elevator reached the ground floor. Once the doors opened, she scurried out. She was in such a hurry that she tripped and fell down. Splat! She collapsed face down like a frog. Everyone outside gasped in shock. A few employees who had just exited the normal elevator covered their mouths and sniggered. Charlotte was so ashamed that she wanted to dig a hole and hide in it. She scrambled to her feet clumsily and ran out, covering her face. Behind her, the man looked at her retreating figure as a smirk flitted across his lips. Charlotte thought the welcome party would be a dinner in a restaurant, but it turned out to be a drinking session at Sultry Night. To her surprise, Wesley was also there. "This is the administration department's gathering. Why is someone from the HR department here?" Charlotte wasn't happy about it, but her colleagues were present, so she wasn't about to chase him out rudely. Wesley had already introduced himself to her colleagues. He also ordered bottles of expensive liquor, which were currently placed around the table. A male colleague spoke up. "Mr. Holt, this liquor costs over $8,000. We shouldn't be doing this to our new colleague." "You don't know," Wesley grinned. "Charlotte is an heiress. She's rich. Back then, she could pay for everyone's drinks here in Sultry Night. These are nothing to her." "Oh, seriously?" A few female colleagues got curious. They surrounded Charlotte and bombarded her with questions. "Charlotte, you're an heiress. How unexpected." "No." "Of course you are." Wesley cut her off rudely and snickered. "The only daughter of the richest man in H City, Richard Wint. You've heard of him, right?" "Richard Wint, the one who jumped off a building 4 years ago," a man uttered. "No wonder the surname Wint sounded really familiar to me." "I think I read the news. The Sterlings called off their son's engagement to Ms. Wint, and then she came to Sultry Night and spent the night with a transvestite gigolo." Was that true? Her colleagues were staring at her, their gazes a mixture of curiosity, excitement, and amazement as they waited for her reply. Charlotte felt suffocated by them. Refusing to take it anymore, she stood up to leave. The manager of the administration department, Roy Young, stopped her and chided the rest. "What are you all doing? Is this how you treat our new colleague? We are going to work together in the future, so please stop teasing her." "Okay, sorry." They apologized to Charlotte at once. The moment Charlotte met Wesley's amused gaze, she escaped from the private room without a word. She wanted to escape the past and start her life anew, but the past kept haunting her. "I can never get rid of it, can I?" Charlotte took a deep breath to calm down. "What's wrong? Was that so unbearable?" Wesley came after her and sneered. "How would you survive, huh?" "You did it on purpose." Charlotte glowered at him. "You deliberately hired me and made me treat my colleagues to dinner so I'd be humiliated. You're doing this to take revenge on me." "That's right," Wesley answered, nodding with a grin. "I ordered food and drinks worth a few $100,000 just for you." "Hey," Charlotte gritted her teeth in anger. "I only have $3,000 left in my account. How on earth am I going to foot the bill?" "Don't tell me you can't afford to pay the bill." Wesley came closer to her intentionally. "You can ask for my help. As long as you agree to spend a night with me, I'll foot the bill. With my help, no one will dare to bully you at work and—" Slap, before Wesley could finish, Charlotte gave him a tight slap and yelled, "Scum." Wesley touched his cheek. Instead of getting mad, he chuckled like a pervert. "This is the first time you've touched me. Your hand is so soft." "You are a disgusting piece of shit." Charlotte stalked off angrily. "If you fail to pay the bill today, your colleagues might refuse to befriend you anymore. Imagine them being disgusted by you so much that they start ostracizing you," Wesley shouted behind her. "Do you want to risk losing this job?" Charlotte walked along the hallway in dejection. "I can't lose this job. But where can I get a few $100,000 to foot the bill?" She was deep in thought when a familiar figure appeared in a private room ahead. A man was seated on the sofa with his straight back to her. His white shirt was tied around his waist, revealing a vicious wolf head tattoo and a long scar on his back. "It's him." Charlotte froze in shock. Her heart pounded faster than ever. The last time she saw the man in his car, she was so nervous and had held her breath dazedly. But he left before she could say a word. But now, the man who had destroyed her life was right in front of her eyes. As she gazed at his back, sudden flashbacks appeared in her head. Upon waking up in the hospital back then, she failed to see her father for the last time. She could only look at her father's stiff corpse in the crematorium. At the funeral, her relatives and friends pointed fingers at her, cursing her harshly and chasing her away. As she got pregnant before marriage, people looked down on her when she attended her monthly prenatal checkups at the unremarkable clinic in the countryside. When she gave birth to her bobbies in the hospital, she nearly died of excessive bleeding because she was pregnant with triplets. It was all that man's fault. Fury overwhelmed her heart. She clenched her hands into fists and rushed into the room. "Hey, get out. This is a private area." A man in black standing in the corner spoke sternly. The mysterious man on the sofa raised his hand. At his silent order, the man in black left the room silently. Charlotte was stunned. Oh, so gigolos are rich enough to afford bodyguards now. Looks like he has been enjoying life for the past few years. Charlotte bit back her agitation and inched nearer carefully. "Is it you?" The man buttoned his shirt and turned around slowly. On his face was a black masquerade mask, covering half of his face. The mask exposed his thin lips. His steely and enigmatic gaze gleamed in the dark. There was a gold fire emblem on the top right of the mask, which appeared menacing and wild to her. Charlotte took a step back instinctively. Why is he so imposing? Isn't he just a gigolo? Did I get the man wrong? No. I'm right. There's that unmistakable tattoo. "Don't you remember me?" Charlotte urged. 4 years ago, I was drinking in room K13 when my friend requested a male escort for me, who turned out to be you. We went to Storm Hotel together. There's a red mole on your chest. The man narrowed his gaze at her. We did it 7 times that very night. I'm gonna kill you. Charlotte dashed ahead and raised her arm to give him a slap. The man grabbed her arm swiftly and pushed her onto the sofa. How dare you? Scum! Charlotte leaped onto him like a wildcat, waving her arms around to scratch him. It's all your fault. You ruined my life, she roared. The man placed his hand on her head, keeping her at a distance away. She couldn't reach him even if she waved her hands wildly. He stared at her coolly like she was nothing but a clown. Get the facts right. You were the one who requested my service. It was consensual. You make it seem like I had raped you. Charlotte bristled. You're an unprofessional gigolo. You didn't even put on a condom when you served your client. F***CK you. You deserve to be castrated. The man's gaze turned dangerous. Did you get pregnant? Charlotte stiffened at his question. Her bobbies flashed across her mind. Yes, I got pregnant and gave birth to triplets. But you scum, you've never been a responsible father. Answer me, he demanded. Yes, I got pregnant, Charlotte blurted out. She immediately changed her mind and corrected herself, but I aborted it later. I won't give birth to a shameless gigolo's child. If someone else finds out the kids, father is a male escort at a club, they'll be ridiculed at their kindergarten. No, I must keep it a secret. No one is to find out about this. Good, the man nodded in satisfaction. He reached into his pocket to retrieve something. The cheek of you. I can't believe you're still working here as a gigolo. How many innocent ladies are you going to harm? I'll file a complaint with your manager now. Charlotte stomped away furiously. The man's hand holding the check froze. Furrowing his brows, he left the check in his pocket. At the door, Charlotte received a call from Wesley. Charlotte, if you don't show up, the rest are going to leave. Don't bother showing up for work at Divine Corporation tomorrow. Go to hell. Charlotte hung up, her body shaking in rage. Why are there scums everywhere? They are both disgusting scoundrels. Wait a minute. Suddenly, something occurred to her. That gigolo ruined my life. I can't give up just like that. I can't let him live luxuriously when my kids and I are suffering. At that thought, Charlotte's jaw hardened. She barged into the private room again and demanded, Stupid gigolo, you ruined my life. You must bear the responsibility. The man was sipping on his wine when she made that announcement. Looking up icily, he replied, Oh, how do you propose I do that? By compensating me, Charlotte declared sternly. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have been this miserable. If it weren't for him, I would have met father for the last time before he died. If it weren't for him, my reputation wouldn't have suffered such an irreversible damage. If it weren't for him, I wouldn't have become a single mother. But my kids are still adorable to me. Wait, I'm demanding money from him now. Be stern and forceful. How much do you want? The man lounged on the sofa arrogantly as he buttoned his shirt up. His sexy abs were gleaming alluringly in the dimly lit room. Charlotte was momentarily dazed by his abs. She swiftly regained her composure and cleared her throat, then held up 3 fingers. 300 million. Ha, if you can pay me 300 million, I'd wake up smiling in my dreams. Charlotte scoffed. She continued, You're just a gigolo. Why are you so cocky? Listen, I demand 3 months of your salary. From today onwards, give me half of your nightly earnings. After all, I can't even afford to buy formula milk for the kids now. Luckily, I bumped into this gigolo when I have nowhere to turn to. I need to fleece him to make him pay for what he had done to me. Also, he needs to bear some responsibility as the kid's father. 3 months will be enough to get me through this hurdle. After my probation period, my salary will increase to 10,000. We will be able to survive then. By then, we will go our separate ways. How much do you think I can earn in one night? The man twirled his glass lightly and shot her an amused glance. What if no one requests for me? You're quite good-looking. If you're willing to work hard, you might end up as Sultry Night's top male escort. Charlotte scanned his figure carefully before her gaze landed on his groin. I hear normal escorts get paid 4,000 to 5,000 for each round of service, and 8,000 to 10,000 for overnight service. You can earn at least 10,000 per night, right? So I just need to give you 5,000 every night. The man's smirk deepened. You're easily satisfied, huh? Of course not, Charlotte retorted hurriedly. I mean, at least 5,000. At least 5,000 every night. To make up for that mistake you did that night, you need to work hard to compensate me, got it? Money isn't a problem, said the man carelessly. Curious, he inquired, but how did you recognize me? Through the wolf head tattoo on your waist. I won't get it wrong. Charlotte was afraid he might deny it. So you don't know what I look like? The man's gaze was penetrating. Duh, Charlotte replied in exasperation. I was so drunk that night that I didn't even know what you looked like. The man sipped on his wine and smiled, saying nothing. Don't try to shirk your responsibility. Otherwise, I'll file a complaint with the manager. Charlotte added, Oh, I heard you're also a transvestite. If they find out about that, you'll lose your job for sure. The man stiffened and narrowed his eyes dangerously. Transvestite. Charlotte harumphed. Are you scared? She took a pen from her bag and wrote out a simple contract. Here, I've made it all clear. From today onwards, you need to compensate me with half of your daily salary for 3 months. Sign here and stamp your thumbprint here. It's a done deal. She stuffed the pen in his hand. Am I the only gigolo you got? The man gazed at the scrawny words on the contract and raised a brow. Don't tell me you have a stack of these contracts at home. Are you crazy? Do you think I'm that desperate? Sleeping with you was an accident. You were the only man I've ever slept with. Charlotte blurted out angrily. When she realized what she had just said, her face flushed in embarrassment. The corners of the man's lips lifted in a smirk. He signed on the contract without a word, but his signature was an illegible squiggle at the bottom of the page. Charlotte thought that wasn't enough and pulled his palm to her. She bit on his thumb, hard. When a drop of blood trickled out, she stamped his finger on the contract immediately. Now, the contract was valid and Charlotte was chuffed. There's no going back on your words now. All right, give me your salary for today. I haven't started working for tonight yet. He pulled her into his embrace and wrapped his arm around her slender waist. Brushing his lips across her cheek, he breathed, Why don't you be my first client for today? I'll give you a 50% discount. Don't even think about it. Charlotte struggled out of his embrace and pushed him aside. Stay away from me. From now on, your job is to work hard and pay your debt. Are you that willing to let me sell my body? The man inquired, staring deep into her eyes. You're just my cash cow. Why wouldn't I be willing? Charlotte whipped her phone out. Let's exchange numbers to stay in contact. The man took her phone and entered his number. He was about to save his name when Charlotte snatched it away from him, saving his name as Gigolo in debt. Upon seeing that, his brows snapped together in displeasure. I'll send you my back account. Remember to bank in your salary before 12 a.m. every day, got it? Reminded Charlotte as she typed furiously on her phone. Ding, the man received a text. He clicked into the text and saw the account number she had just sent him. He smirked. This is interesting. Right then, Charlotte's phone began to ring. Seeing it was Wesley, she answered it and yelled in frustration, Stop pushing me. I don't have money to foot the bill. I don't want the job at Divine Corporation anymore. Will that do? She hung up promptly, her face flushed with anger. As she had just lost her new job, she slumped onto the sofa in dejection. Spotting the wine glass in front of the man, she grabbed it and finished the wine in one gulp. Charlotte let out a burp and complained, It's all your fault. I've just lost my job because of you. It's hard to find a job nowadays. I can't believe that despicable man did that to me. The man asked. Did someone at Divine Corporation frame you? You won't understand. Charlotte was about to ignore him when something occurred to her. Oh, can you pay a bill around a few $100,000 here? Sure. Great. Charlotte told the man to pay the bill, which was over $183,000. Her heart was aching over the ridiculously expensive bill, but she had to keep her job. After all, she still had to support her kids. Thanks, I'll deduct the amount from your compensation. She went to her colleagues and informed them. I've settled the bill. Did you have fun tonight? Yes, thank you, Charlotte. Her colleagues cheered. Did you seriously foot the bill? I heard it was over $180,000. A colleague inquired in disbelief. Yes, it was pretty expensive. I maxed out a few cards to pay the bill. I'll be eating bread for the next few months. Charlotte let out a bitter chuckle. But it's worth it as long as you had fun tonight. Well, a few other colleagues felt bad for her and glanced at Wesley. Charlotte's being humble. The money isn't even enough for her to buy a bag. There's no way she'd maxed out her cards. Wesley snickered. But anyway, thank you. Next time it's on me. Charlotte was upset at how despicable the scum was, but she couldn't retort as she needed this job. Ignoring him, she sent her colleagues off. Charlotte, I drove here. Let me give you a ride back. It's all right. I can take a cab, thank you, though. When Charlotte came out of the private room, the man was no longer at the bar. He must be with a client now. He just can't stay idle, huh? She sent him a text. I'm leaving now. Work hard and earn more money. The faster you pay your debt, the faster you'll be set free. In the room, when Zachary received her text, the corners of his mouth turned up. What a foolish yet adorable woman. Mr. Nacht, Pardis has just shown up. Ben, his bodyguard, came in and reported. I've sent someone to keep an eye on him. We'll find out who he'll contact. Remember, don't alert him. Got it. As Charlotte didn't receive a reply from him, she panicked. Is he trying to go back on his word? I'm still nearby. If he seriously has that intention, I can go back and look for him. She immediately called that number. Zachary was about to leave when his phone rang. He smiled subconsciously when he saw who it was. Hello. Why didn't you reply to my text? Are you trying to escape? Charlotte demanded. I'm busy earning money to pay my debt, explained Zachary, all immersed in his role. Someone asked for you, Charlotte asked excitedly. For one round or one night, how much did you earn? You seem really experienced at this, Zachary sneered. How many times have you hired gigolos? You're the only one, Charlotte retorted. Embarrassed by her sudden outburst, she coughed a few times before her voice grew stern. Stop changing the topic. How much did you earn? One night, 10,000, replied Zachary, arching his brows. He was at the peak of his business career, where everything felt dull to him. This stupid woman was giving his plain life more color and making it much more entertaining now. Standing aside, Ben was confused. Is Mr. Nacht discussing a new collaboration? What does he mean by one night? Is 10,000 a code phrase or something? Great, transfer 5,000 to me now. Charlotte was elated. Money, incoming money. I don't ask for payment in advance. I'll do that tomorrow morning, replied Zachary. The call was then disconnected. Charlotte was upset at how rude he was. Why did he hang up abruptly? Is he trying to go back on his word? Never mind. Since he signed the contract, answered my call, and even reported his earnings, I think he won't go back on his word. I'll just wait and see. Perhaps when I wake up, there will be money in my account. For the entire night, Charlotte tossed and turned in bed. She kept glancing at her phone. Nope, no new transfer. Nope, not yet. It's just 2 a.m., wait a bit more. Charlotte had just fallen asleep at 6 a.m. when a text arrived. She grabbed her phone underneath her pillow. It was a text, informing her that a transfer of 5,000 had been made to her account. She immediately leaped up in excitement. Awesome, the first payment is in. She then quickly sent a text. I just received the money. Good job, work harder tonight. Gigolo in debt. I just remembered I paid the bill last night. You said you'll deduct it from my debt. Charlotte, I'm afraid you'll spend the money elsewhere. Just transfer me the money daily and I'll deduct the 180,000 from your debt. Don't you worry. Gigolo in debt. Okay. Charlotte, work hard tonight too. If you do a good job, I'll buy you some supplements. Gigolo in debt. After receiving the money, Charlotte was so overjoyed she couldn't go back to sleep. They had just moved from the countryside, so they still lacked a number of household supplies. As it was the weekend, she wanted to bring Mrs. Barry and the kids out shopping. Charlotte used to be a spoilt child, too. Her father adored her and brought her up like a princess. Alas, life was hard to predict. After the downfall of the Wint family, Charlotte ended up as the mother of triplets. As a mother, she would keep tabs on the latest promotions to get the best deals when shopping for daily necessities. They arrived at Grand Plaza soon. Charlotte was dressed in a casual denim shirt. She kept her phone in her bum bag and rolled her sleeves up in preparation for war. Robbie, Jamie, Ellie, I'm going shopping. Stay with Mrs. Barry at the playground, all right? Don't wander off alone. I will be back soon. Okay, the kids replied in unison. Right then, the onlookers started taking videos and photos of the kids. A few young ladies were tittering and squealing. Oh, are they mixed-race bobbies? How adorable, so cute. Yes, look at their curly hair and bright eyes. Ah, they look like two princes and a princess in a fairy tale. I've never seen such good-looking kids. There's a parrot on the little girl's shoulder. Oh, it's nodding off. Haha, that's so cute. The kids would attract attention wherever they went, so every time they had to go somewhere crowded, Charlotte would make them wear face masks and hats to avoid too much attention. Please don't take photos and videos of us. This is an infringement of our image rights, Robbie reminded coolly. I can take selfies with pretty ladies. No selfies with boys, though, Jamie smirked. Only pretty ladies. SHH, you're disturbing Fifi. Ellie put a finger up to her lips. Fifi was nodding off on her shoulder. Ah, how adorable. Can we take a selfie with you? A few young ladies surrounded them. Nope, sorry, we don't do that. Robbie kept his cool. Okay, Robbie, Jamie, Ellie, I've bought the tickets. We can enter now. Mrs. Barry returned with the tickets and brought them into the playground. Charlotte went upstairs to a children's clothing brand on the 3rd floor. There was a sale happening there. She rushed in and grabbed a cart before squeezing into the crowd at the sales section. Right then, a team of men in black marched in authoritatively and ordered everyone to make way. The young mothers who were busy shopping immediately stopped. They glanced at the scene in disgust. Who is that? What a grand entrance. Wow, these bodyguards are all tall and hot. Any of them could be the top male escort at sultry night. At their words, Charlotte's heart sank. A male escort at sultry night. Is it gigolo in debt? You're wrong. They are the bodyguards working for Divine Corporation's president. A mother with neat bangs answered smugly. My husband is working at Divine Corporation. The president has 18 bodyguards with a golden S logo on their shoulder. She added, I think the president is here, judging by the number of bodyguards. Wow, another mother chimed in dreamily. The bodyguards are hunks. I wonder how hot the president will be. Normally people who hire handsome and tall bodyguards are short and ugly. That's right. Zachary's strikingly handsome features popped up in Charlotte's mind. Short and ugly. He is neither short nor ugly. The men in black set up a defense line in front of the Italian restaurant right opposite the shop and straightened their backs on alert. Soon, a tall and imposing man walked into the restaurant. Charlotte stared at his back from a distance. Indeed, it was Zachary Nacht, the president of Divine Corporation. For some reason, his back looked familiar to her. Where have I seen him before? Meanwhile, the kids were having a lot of fun in the playground. Mrs. Barry stayed with them the entire time. A few parents came to her, and they started chatting animatedly. Jamie went to the restroom to pee. He was exiting the restroom with his hands in his pockets when he saw a trail of blood on the ground. His eyes immediately widened in surprise. Huh, why is there blood on the floor? Curious, Jamie followed the blood trail and arrived at the storeroom where a wounded man in black was resting. Jamie came to a stop cautiously. The man in black was wearing a mask and cap which hid his entire face, but blood was trickling out of his wound nonstop. When he heard the footsteps, he immediately raised the knife in his grip viciously. Upon seeing that it was just a young boy, he relaxed visibly. Sir, do you need help? Jamie inquired politely. Get lost, brat, the man growled. Pouting, Jamie took out a cartoon Band-Aid from his pocket and handed it to the man. Here you go. The man rolled his eyes. He was bleeding badly, so this Band-Aid wouldn't be of help. You'd die of excessive bleeding. You should go to the doctor now, said Jamie before turning to leave. Jamie, Jamie, Fifi flapped its wings and flew toward Jamie. Jamie raised his hand, allowing Fifi to perch safely on the back of his hand. As the pair walked out, they attracted everyone's attention. Hey, what a cute boy. He has a cute parrot too, Awa. Go search. Suddenly, a team of men in suits rushed in and started searching the area. Jamie swiveled his head and stared at the restroom. Could it be related to that man? He was in a daze when the man in black rushed out from the restroom and extended a bloodied hand. Then, he slipped something into Jamie's pocket and whispered in the boy's ear, "Brat, I'll come back for it." Soon, the man disappeared into the stairwell. The team of men in suits immediately went after him. Jamie was stunned. Wow, was that a scene from a crime film? That was so cool. Snapping back to reality, he took out a small box from his pocket. When he opened it, there was a tiny golden chip about the size of a bean. Studying it carefully, he wondered, what could this be? It doesn't look like gold. I think it's some electronic stuff like the kind Robbie is obsessed with. Seed. Jamie was deep in thought when little Fifi's beak parted and ate the chip, thinking it was a seed. Jamie was dumbfounded. He immediately patted Fifi's green head and shouted, "Fifi, spit it out, spit it out." Fifi shrieked immediately. Instead of spitting it out, it swallowed the chip out of shock. Ah, Jamie freaked out at once. He tugged Fifi's tail and swung it around. You can't eat that. Spit it out now. Fifi was seeing stars from Jamie's rough action. It rolled its eyes while its tongue lolled out weakly. Jamie, what are you doing? Yelled Ellie. She rushed over and took Fifi from him. Cradling it in her arms carefully, she demanded, "Why did you bully Fifi? I'm going to tell Mommy." No, Ellie. Jamie, it's wrong to bully Fifi, said Robbie sternly. Fifi. Jamie pointed at himself before pointing at Fifi helplessly. Fifi's head was spinning as it lay in Ellie's arms, panting heavily. Looks like none of them will believe me. Jamie had no choice but to keep it a secret. Zachary was sitting with his back against the door of the VIP room he was in, sipping on his wine elegantly in the Italian restaurant. His figure was imposing under the dim light. Ben rushed in to inform him. "Mr. Nacht, Pardis has escaped." The man's hand paused briefly as he icily uttered, "Useless." "Yes," said Ben, lowering his head guiltily. "Chip X holds the secret to our corporation's latest technology. If it gets leaked, the consequences will be horrible. We must get it back." "Yes," Ben answered. "I'll find Pardis within 3 days." Zachary stood up to leave, his majestic figure stunning everyone. A heavy silence hung in the air as all held their breaths. When he and his entourage arrived at the underground car park, he got into his Rolls-Royce Phantom without a word. The driver was about to drive away when Zachary called out, "Wait." The driver hit the brakes immediately. Ben followed Zachary's gaze, spotting a little girl running past the rear of their car. She was nearly knocked over earlier. He immediately alighted the car. "Girl, why are you alone here?" "My Fifi flew downstairs. I'm going after it. Fifi, don't run, stop." Ellie was about to pounce on the bird, but it flew into the car instead. She crawled into the car at once. Looking up, she was shocked to see a pair of cold eyes staring at her. "He seems scary. Is he the bad guy Mommy always talks about?" Ellie gazed at Zachary in fear and instinctively inched backward. Zachary was also gazing at the little girl, his heart softening. His stare was no longer as stony as it always was. "What a cute little girl. She looks like a pretty doll with her puffy cheeks. Look, her eyes are shining like stars. Strangely, she feels familiar to me. I can feel myself softening up at the sight of her." Fifi was circling in the car, shrieking, "Ellie, Ellie." "Come over here at once." A frowning Ellie stretched her hand out and demanded, "If you keep acting up, I'll get mad." Alas, Fifi didn't perch on her little hand. It landed on Zachary's shoulder instead. Zachary's brows snapped together as he reached out to grab Fifi. Fifi immediately struggled and pooped on Zachary's blazer in fright. A few feathers floated around, accompanied by shocked silence. Ben froze. Even the bodyguards paled instantly. They knew what a clean freak Zachary was. The bird's dead meat. Indeed, Zachary's expression darkened. His grip on little Fifi tightened. Fifi's body stiffened from the increasing force. Its eyes rolled upward as it lolled its tongue out. Let go of Fifi. Ellie leaped on the man and tried to pry his hands off Fifi. Let go, let go. Kid, Ben tried to pull her away. Staring at Ellie's flushed face and doll-like eyes, the menace in Zachary's gaze faded away. He slowly released his grip on the bird. Fifi flapped its wings frantically and returned to Ellie's embrace. Ellie caught the bird and glared at Zachary angrily before escaping from his car. Hey, kid, Ben yelled after her, but she merely ignored him. Worried, he told a bodyguard, go after her and make sure she reunites with her family safely. Yes. The vehicle then slowly drove away. Zachary took off his blazer and patted the feathers away before wiping his hands with a piece of wet wipes. Ben scanned his boss' expression. He still looks stern, but that murderous glint in his gaze is gone. He couldn't help but lament, what an adorable little girl. She has an innocent gaze, Zachary commented, which was rare of him. Yes, I wonder what kind of mother she has to give birth to such a lovely girl like her. Ellie was riding the escalator when she heard Charlotte calling her name. Ellie, Ellie. Mommy, I'm here. Ellie ran over with Fifi in her arms. She launched herself into Charlotte's embrace like a rocket, causing the latter to stumble from her weight. You gave me a scare. Charlotte hugged Ellie tightly and caressed her head anxiously. Are you hurt? Did you meet any bad guys? I'm not hurt, but... Ellie recalled that man in the car. Is he a bad guy? He looks like one. But, Fifi pooped on his shoulder. He was angry, but he didn't kill Fifi. That means he's not a bad guy, right? But what? Charlotte urged. Fifi pooped on a man, explained Ellie, gesturing with her chubby hands. But that man didn't hurt Fifi. I'm glad you're both fine. Don't wander around next time, get it? Okay. Not far away, the bodyguard waited until the little girl left with her mother before he walked away. As he was too far away, he only saw her back and her faded denim shirt. Monday was a busy day. The moment Charlotte arrived at the office, she buried herself in work and only got to stop when lunchtime arrived. She followed her colleagues from the administration department to the company's cafeteria on the 21st floor. They had just exited from the elevator when they bumped into Zachary. The man strode out of the elevator in an imposing manner, causing the air to solidify. The rest of his employees retreated to one side and looked at the ground silently. Charlotte peeked at him and met his icy glare without warning. She immediately looked down in a panic. Was Devil staring at me? Don't mind me. Carry on, uttered Zachary. The employees were pleasantly surprised by their president's words. This was the first time they had heard him speak directly to them, so they were very much thrilled. Zachary sat down at a seat by the window. Two bodyguards stood watch behind him as Ben left to order his meal. Charlotte peeked at him once again. The sunlight reflected off his body, encasing him in a golden glow like a Greek god. If only this man is the father of my triplets. Just as the thought flashed across her mind, Charlotte brushed it off immediately. She took her tray of food and followed her colleagues to their usual table. When she sat down, the annoying Wesley showed up. Hello. Charlotte rolled her eyes and shifted sideways to keep a distance from him. How could you eat so little? Teased Wesley. Eat up. Our company's cafeteria serves a luxurious buffet for free. It's better than the ones at five-star hotels. Ignoring him, Charlotte lowered her head and focused on her food. Hey, why is Mr. Magnate eating in the cafeteria today? Charlotte's colleague, Fiona, asked. I'm curious, too. He never comes to our cafeteria, said Lily, another colleague. She peeked at the table opposite theirs and lowered her voice. Due to his presence, we're all tensed up. Look how silent the whole cafeteria is now. Yes, my hands are shaking. Yolanda dared not look up at all. Ah, don't be nervous. Wesley seemed unfazed. He might seem cold, but he's actually quite friendly. Mr. Holt, you seem to know Mr. Nact well. A male colleague voiced his curiosity. I saw you greeting him last time. Of course, the president and I are close, replied Wesley. His voice trailed off, as if hinting at a deeper meaning to his words. No wonder you got promoted so quickly in 6 months. Turns out you're friends with Mr. Nact. The male colleagues hurriedly buttered up to him. Mr. Holt, please take care of us in the future. Don't worry. As long as you're doing a good job, you'll get a promotion in no time, said Wesley smugly. Charlotte couldn't take it anymore. She took her tray and rose to her feet to leave. Wesley went after her. Charlotte, hold up. Annoyed, Charlotte's footsteps quickened. Wesley chased after her and stood in front of her. Why are you in a hurry? Let's walk together. Mr. Holt, I don't know you well. Before Charlotte could finish, someone bumped into her. She lurched forward from the force, while her unfinished bolognese pasta splattered on Wesley's face. As the pasta streamed down his face, everyone gasped. Wesley stiffened, utterly stunned. He promptly regained his senses and wiped at the bolognese sauce on his face clumsily in anger. Charlotte burst out laughing. It seemed like a rude reaction, so she immediately apologized. I'm sorry, I didn't do that on purpose. Someone bumped into me and... When she whirled around to take a look, she realized that the person who had bumped into her was none other than Zachary. Zachary's expression was icy as he brushed past her. Charlotte stared at his back in a daze. Was he the one who bumped into me earlier? This is such a wide space, and with 4 bodyguards by his side at all times. How could he have bumped into me? Don't tell me, he did it on purpose. Don't you watch where you're going, Charlotte? Wesley roared at her, getting all worked up. I'm sorry. Charlotte pointed to the direction Zachary had disappeared and explained meekly. It was the president who bumped into me. That's why I accidentally. You're even pushing the blame onto. Mr. Holt, Ben interrupted Wesley and asked coldly, are you saying that it's Mr. Nack's fault? No, I wouldn't dare, Wesley hastily explained. I meant myself. I'm the one who's blind. That's more like it. Ben nodded with satisfaction, then solemnly reminded, watch where you're going next time, especially in a restaurant. It's not good to waste food. Understood. Wesley lowered his head in submission. Seeing the look of embarrassment on Wesley's face, Charlotte cheered silently in her heart. This prick has finally run into a snag. He probably won't dare to harass me again from now on. When Zachary spied the way Charlotte was secretly rejoicing, his lips formed into a faint smile. His phone rang just when the elevator doors closed, and he picked it up immediately. Speak. Mr. Nact, we've caught Pardis, but he doesn't have the chip with him. He's probably hidden it somewhere else. I've used every method to force him into confessing, but he's remained tight-lipped thus far. We may have to resort to more extreme measures. A man like him has undergone hellish training. Torture won't work on him, Zachary ordered. Check the surveillance footage at the Grand Plaza and see if he passed it to his accomplices. Yes, I'll look into it immediately. By the time Charlotte got home from work, a scrumptious meal had already been prepared by Mrs. Barry. Soon, the family of 5 enjoyed their dinner together. Fifi flapped its wings and perched on Ellie's shoulder, rubbing its head against Ellie's chubby cheek. Ellie fed it a melon seed, but it didn't happily eat it like it usually did. Instead, it shook its head, struggling through a round of hiccups. Ellie looked at its food tray. Noticing that the food was completely untouched, she anxiously said, Mommy, Fifi hasn't eaten anything since last night and keeps having hiccups. Is it sick? What's wrong? Charlotte stroked Fifi's furry little head, but it looked completely listless. Maybe Fifi hasn't recovered from the shock it went through at the mall the other day, Mrs. Barry suggested. Bring it to see the doctor tonight. We'll do that, Charlotte nodded in agreement. Jamie looked at Fifi and furrowed his brows, hesitating for a while. Finally, he couldn't take it anymore and blurted out, "Mommy, actually, Fifi ate a gold thingy. That's why it feels uncomfortable." "Gold thingy," Charlotte blinked in surprise. "Yeah, it was this big," Jamie indicated with his fingers. "About the same size as my pinky finger." "I don't think we have a piece of gold like that in our house." Charlotte was puzzled. "Not in our house. When we were at the mall, a masked man in black gave it to me," Jamie explained. "Have you been watching too much cartoon?" Robbie rolled his eyes at Jamie in an adult-like manner. "It's true." Jamie quickly recounted the events of that day in detail. By the time he was done, everyone had dumbfounded looks on their faces. "Ha ha ha," Mrs. Barry cackled with laughter. "Jamie, your story is really entertaining." "See, too much cartoon." Robbie rolled his eyes again and continued eating. "Why don't any of you believe me?" Jamie's cheeks were flushed red with anxiety. "Do you believe me, Mommy?" "I do." Charlotte filled his plate with more food. "We'll bring Fifi to see the doctor after we're done eating, okay?" "Yeah, let's bring Fifi to see the doctor first." Ellie was only concerned about her parrot and not the truth. Jamie pouted, feeling greatly aggrieved. After dinner, Charlotte and her 3 children brought Fifi to the vet. The doctor checked Fifi and said that it was indigestion, probably due to eating something wrong. Hence, the doctor prescribed some medicine to improve its bowel movement. Jamie pouted and thought to himself, HMPH. When that gold thingy comes out of Fifi, all of you will know that I was telling the truth. Back at home, by the time Charlotte fed Fifi the medicine and tucked her children into bed, it was already past 9. She lay on her bed after taking a shower and sent a text to Gigolo in debt. "How is business tonight?" He replied, "Not good. No one picked me." Charlotte became worried and typed a long message, teaching him how to flirt with rich women and talk business. Don't always wear a mask and pretend to look cool. Even though some rich women dig cold and aloof men, there are also some who like bright and bubbly men. You need to adapt and change your style according to the situation. Also, when those rich women start choosing their guy, you should wow them with your charm. Take off your shirt so that your abs and chest muscles are on full display, then grind with your hips a little. Those rich women won't stand a chance. They'd be drooling all over themselves. Then, you have to tell them that you have good stamina and can last for ages. Good stamina and can last for ages. It seems like you remember that night very vividly. Charlotte's face turned crimson red upon reading his reply, and she sent an angry emoji back to him. "I'm teaching you how to do business and make money, but you're talking about useless things instead. If you don't hit your target tonight, you have to make up for the difference tomorrow. I've told you before that you must pay me at least 5,000 every day." Gigolo in debt replied to her with a sweating emoji. "Work a little harder, put in a little more effort. The night is still young. Who knows, maybe business will come knocking on your door after midnight. Don't be picky. Who cares if those rich women are skinny or obese? As long as they take a liking to you, you shag 'em." Gigolo in debt was speechless. "Forget it. I'll head over to Sultry Night right now and bring you some supplements, and maybe teach you some skills too while I'm there." Being a boss meant spending effort winning over the workers instead of blindly squeezing them dry. A boss had to lead with virtue and sentiment, otherwise the workers would eventually leave. Charlotte recalled the business lessons her father had taught her in the past, and decided to treat this gigolo in debt better from then on. After Charlotte informed Mrs. Barry where she was going, she had a change of clothes and went to the pharmacy near her neighborhood. She kept her head low and scanned her surroundings first, before walking toward the counter to ask the salesperson, "May I know if you have supplements for improving sex drive?" "For a man or a woman?" asked the salesperson. "For a man," Charlotte lowered her voice to a whisper. "These are what we have. Which one would you like?" The salesperson pointed at the row of glass cabinets behind the counter. "I want the cheapest one," Charlotte answered without hesitation. "This one then." The salesperson took out a bottle of supplements. "It's buy 3 get 1 free." "How much is 3 bottles?" $3,380. It's too expensive. I'll take just the one. Rendered speechless, the salesperson checked out one bottle for her. Charlotte stuffed it into her bag and left in a flurry. The salesperson then sidled over to a colleague and gossiped. That lady just now is quite pretty. It's too bad she doesn't have a conscience. How come? Just think about it. She squeezed her husband dry, so she came here to buy him some supplements, but she ended up buying only one bottle. I mean, come on, you can't have your cake and eat it too. Ha ha ha, what a vicious wife. After leaving the pharmacy, Charlotte took a cab to Sultry Night and searched for Gigolo in debt. She directly went to the private room where the two of them previously met. Sure enough, he was there. As usual, his face was hidden behind that mysterious mask. Clad in all black, he took up a lofty posture as he leaned back against the sofa and sipped on his drink, emanating an insufferably arrogant and unapproachable aura. Tusk, 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 look at that attitude. No wonder no one picked you. Charlotte chastised him as soon as she stepped into the room. Those rich women come here to seek pleasure, not to be at the mercy of a masochist. Who do you think you'll seduce with that grim face of yours? Well, it's take it or leave it. Zachary swirled the glass in his hand and continued sipping on his drink. How can you be successful by just making do with what comes your way? Charlotte was exasperated. You need to think big and strive to create a better life for yourself. Even a gigolo needs to think big, Zachary questioned. Of course. You gigolos have different levels too, right? Charlotte continued educating him earnestly. If your performance is good, you can become the top gigolo here. Others may only earn $10,000 a night, but you'll earn $100,000. When that happens, you'll be able to retire after just 2 years. You have to make the most out of your youth in this line of work. If you don't work hard now, how are you going to get by once you're old? It makes sense, Zachary nodded. So you have to work hard to improve your performance. Charlotte took out the bottle of supplement from her bag. Here, I bought this for you. Take it and close a big client later tonight. There's no need for that. My sex drive is very good. Zachary glanced at the bottle and his lips arched into a wicked smile. Didn't you experience it firsthand? Well, it used to be good, but after doing it for so many years, you probably have some problems now, don't you? Charlotte gazed at him with pity in her eyes. Everything excessively used will wear out with time. Her gaze fell on his groin, and she released a sigh. Zachary narrowed his eyes dangerously and pinched her chin to level their gazes. Are you doubting my abilities? His eyes gleamed with an innate kind of dominance, making her heart flutter nervously for some reason. Charlotte scooted back slightly and kept a distance from him. I'm just worried about your physical condition. I even bought you some supplements. You should repay me for my effort. How do you want me to repay you? Zachary abruptly closed in on her and exuded a dangerous aura, resembling a wild beast stalking its prey. Well, of course, by earning more money and clearing your debt to me sooner. Charlotte's mind was in shambles by then, and she began to stammer. AA and also. She pointed at the expensive bottle of red wine on the table, trying to diffuse the sexual tension in the air. Don't spend excessively. Don't falsify bank statements. This was paid by a client, Zachary replied casually. Ah, I see. That makes more sense. I was wondering how you could afford to buy such an expensive bottle of wine. Charlotte continued shifting away. Has that client placed an order with you? I rejected her. Zachary deliberately teased her. 58 years old and 280 pounds. I'm too young to die in bed. A snort of laughter escaped Charlotte's lips at that, and she reached out to squeeze his arm. You're strong and packed with muscles. There's no way you'd die that easily. Zachary caught her wandering little hand and jerked her into his arms. Why don't you try me out first? No. Charlotte was so flabbergasted that she blurted out barely coherent words. Don't try anything funny. If you touch me, I'll report you. Go ahead. Zachary gently bit her earlobe, which sent a ripple of electricity through her entire body, making her tingle all over. If I get fired, I won't have money to pay you back anymore. You, Charlotte couldn't formulate a response to refute him. Zachary's lips traveled downward before brushing a feather-like kiss on her collarbone. Then, he trapped the button on her shirt between his teeth and nuzzled her chest tantalizingly. "Do," Charlotte thrashed against him in panic, but she couldn't break free from his hold, no matter how hard she tried. "You're really sensitive." Zachary was very satisfied with her reaction and planned to continue teasing her, but a woman's loud and pompous voice came from outside, interrupting the peace. "I'm tired of those male escorts from earlier. Don't you have any new ones? I want the best in sultry night, the best of the best." "That's right, we want the finest you have here. We can afford it." With that, the door burst open with a loud bang. 3 wealthy women with plump figures who reeked of alcohol barged in and were taken aback when they saw the unfamiliar private room. "Huh! Where are the 18 escorts we ordered? Why is it so quiet here? Did we come to the wrong room?" "You went the wrong way. Your room is on the opposite side." Beyond the door, the bodyguard whom Zachary had sent away was about to come in and handle the situation. However, he immediately backtracked when Zachary shot him a meaningful look. Charlotte pushed off the sofa and tidied her clothes with her back to the door. "Hey, there's one here." The 3 women spotted Zachary and gathered around him excitedly, undressing him with their eyes. "His body and looks are top-notch. He's completely on a different level compared to the boring ones out there. Domineering and ruthless, just my cup of tea. Hey, handsome, you're also an escort here, right? Name your price, we have the money." Zachary nursed his drink and didn't spare them a glance. His cold and domineering temperament made the 3 women hunger for him all the more. Upon noticing this, Charlotte jumped at the opportunity to make a fortune and deliberately provoked the 3 of them. "Oh, do you now? You don't look like you can even afford a drink here. Where did this bratty girl come from? How dare you speak to us like this?" The women shot hostile glares at Charlotte. "Don't you know who we are?" "I don't give a crap about who you are." Charlotte clung onto Zachary's arm and warned, "I saw him first." Zachary's brows raised a little as he studied her with intrigue. One of the women took out a stack of banknotes from her bag and threw it onto the table. "Little girl, there are tons of escorts out there. This money is more than enough for you to hire at least 7 of them. Give this one to us." "No." Charlotte tilted Zachary's chin and smashed her lips onto his icy ones, then wrapped her arms around him and snapped. "I spent 100,000 today just to have this legendary gigolo god all to myself. I won't be giving him up to anyone. So get out. Go, go, go." Zachary's brows shot up to his hairline, then he pursed his lips, craving more than just a kiss from her. "But gigolo god, seriously, is this some sort of upgrade? 100,000, look at your cheap clothes. How could you afford to spend so much money?" one of the rich women questioned. Having her dignity get trampled on, Charlotte almost blew her cover, but she recovered quickly and kept up the act. "I've been saving up for this for a long time. Just to have a passionate night with this gigolo god, I took out my entire annual salary." "Your annual salary is only 100,000, the women laughed mockingly. "You can barely scrap by in life, yet you came here and hired a gigolo. Aren't you embarrassed?" "Why should I be? He's mine for tonight anyway." Charlotte caressed Zachary's chiseled pecs, purposely provoking them. "Look at this perfect body. 100,000? Ha, I'd even spend 1 million if I had to." The 3 women scanned Zachary's body from head to toe, practically salivating at the thought of what lay beneath his clothes. Zachary stared at Charlotte as a dangerous glint flickered in his eyes. Charlotte didn't dare to meet his gaze. In fact, she was flustered on the inside, but for the sake of money, she went all out. "Fine, 1 million it is." One of the women filled out a check and threw it at Charlotte. "You can get lost now." "It's 10 times the amount you spent," another woman sneered. "For someone who lives at the bottom of society, I doubt you can make 1 million even if you were given a lifetime. Well, looks like you hit the jackpot today, so get lost." "That's right, take the money on the table too, then hurry up and get lost." The 3 women urged her, wanting so badly for Charlotte to leave that very second so that they could get on with their night. Charlotte examined the check and kept it once she confirmed its validity. Then, she opened her bag and quickly stuffed the banknotes on the table into it. I'll go now, have fun. With that, she got up and was about to leave. However, the hem of her shirt was grabbed from behind, holding her in place. She looked back and saw that Gigolo in debt was holding onto her shirt and glaring at her. You're dead if you leave. Be a good boy and work hard. Charlotte pried his fingers off her shirt. Hugging her bag that was full of money to her chest, she scurried away without looking back once. As Zachary watched her flee, his eyes gradually darkened and his hand tightened around the glass wine. After escaping from the private room, Charlotte leaned her back against the door as a hint of guilt rose in her heart. Those 3 rich women probably weigh about 700 pounds in total. Can Gigolo in debt handle it? I should have bought a few more bottles of those supplements for him. Charlotte opened the door a crack to peek inside and saw the 3 women approaching Gigolo in debt like hungry wolves. Their fleshy backs were blocking Charlotte's line of sight, so she couldn't see Gigolo in debt's expression. She imagined him to be quaking on the sofa at the moment, begging in a fearful voice, "Please, let me go." She sighed softly, then closed the door and ignored her guilty conscience, quickening her steps to leave. Here we come, Gigolo God, ha ha ha. The 3 women launched themselves at Zachary, with excitement coursing through their veins. Zachary showed no reaction, but when he lowered his gaze, the 3 of them collapsed to the ground at the same time. Due to their heavy weight, the ground shook as if being hit by an earthquake, almost shattering the coffee table in the process. The black-clothed bodyguard pushed open the door and entered the room, asking cautiously, "Are you okay, Mr. Nacht?" "Clean this up." Zachary stepped on the coffee table to leave, not wanting the soles of his shoes to get dirtied by the 3 women on the ground. Charlotte stepped out of sultry night and hailed a cab. On the ride home, she guiltily sent a text message to Gigolo in debt. "Are you okay?" There was no reply. She sent another message. "If you really can't handle them anymore, just run away. Don't foolishly force yourself to bear with it." There was still no reply. Charlotte called him, but no one answered. She felt even more uneasy. Shit, could something have happened to that guy? Or maybe he's serving his clients and wants to keep things professional. For some reason, Charlotte's chest constricted slightly at the thought of this. After all, he was her first man. Now that he had ended up in this situation, she found it to be rather tragic. But on second thought, this was his job. She had only happened to come across those ladies today. If she hadn't, he would have been serving rich women anyway. Forget it, being soft-hearted will get me nowhere. I'd be better off focusing on being a dutiful creditor. The next morning, Charlotte made sure her triplets safely boarded the bus before rushing to the company. Because she was going to be late, she carried her heels and ran nonstop. Upon reaching the company's driveway, a Rolls-Royce Phantom abruptly sped toward her from the side, with no intention of slowing down. Charlotte couldn't avoid the car in time, falling to the ground in fright. The car, on the other hand, came to a screeching halt just an inch away from her. A little further, and Charlotte would have been meeting either God or Satan in person. She was so scared that her heart threatened to fly out of her chest, but the people in the car looked completely unfazed. The security guard came forward to help Charlotte up, but unexpectedly reproached her. "Don't run around like a mad hatter. You almost ran into the president's car." They were obviously the ones who almost ran into me. Charlotte's anger spiked, and she turned her head to glare at the people in the car. The bodyguards were rocking their poker faces, not showing an ounce of remorse. As for Zachary, who was seated in the back, he was staring unblinkingly at Charlotte with a frosty gaze. Charlotte was stunned. What's going on? I'm obviously the victim here. Zachary made a gesture, and the Rolls-Royce Phantom zoomed past Charlotte, just a hairsbreadth away from her. Fury ignited in Charlotte, but she could only massage her bruised wrists and sore bum before limping into the company. In the elevator, She recalled the look in Zachary's eyes just now and became more perplexed than ever. When did I ever offend the devil? Since joining the company until now, I've been nothing but a diligent worker. I haven't done anything wrong. The only time she had come in contact with him was when he bumped into her, causing her to get spaghetti all over Wesley's face. She even thought that he had intentionally done it to teach Wesley a lesson. Now, it seemed like she had been overthinking it. Just now, his driver had almost run her down, causing her to fall and bruise herself. She didn't even kick up a fuss, but he had glared at her with such a terrifying look in his eyes. How strange. Maybe he was just born a brooding devil, and there's no reasonable explanation behind it. Following this train of thought, Charlotte's nerves relaxed considerably. A few scrapes were nothing she couldn't handle. She was fine as long as she didn't offend that devil, otherwise, her life from then on would become a living hell. Little did she know that her run of bad luck had only just begun. On level 13, before Charlotte could settle down at her desk, Roy, the manager of the administration department, immediately lambasted her. "You've only been here for a few days, but you're already coming in late. Who do you think you are?" "The Queen." The president came down to personally check the attendance in each department. "We were severely criticized because of you. Our bonuses for this quarter have all been deducted." "I'm sorry, Mr. Young, I was." "Don't give me excuses." Roy cut her off and roared angrily. "Put your work on hold and go clean the swimming pool on level 68 now." "Huh, clean the swimming pool? Why?" Charlotte was dumbstruck. "What do you mean, why?" Roy put on a stern face. "This is your punishment, or do you want your salary to be deducted instead?" No, I don't want that." The moment Charlotte heard about a possible salary deduction, she immediately caved in. "I'll go clean the swimming pool right now." On level 68, the highest floor of the building, was a luxurious infinity pool. The clear blue sky was reflected in the pool. Hence, swimming here would be like wading across the fluffy white clouds in the sky. This is obviously for the devil's personal use. The place was spotless, without a speck of dust in sight. The tiles could even be used as mirrors. Charlotte couldn't understand why she had been ordered to clean it. However, she would do it as long as her salary wasn't be deducted. In the blink of an eye, she had worked for 3 hours. The floor was scrubbed clean and the pool water had been replaced. Charlotte was about to gather her things and head downstairs. When she turned around, she was met with a man seated on an ivory-colored recliner chair, scaring the living daylights out of her. "Mr. Nacht, how long have you been here?"